So this is a Amana Dryer, saying that it won't heat right now. Heating portion's not working. It's still tumbling. Everything else still works. Here's the model number and serial number in case y'all want to check to make sure it's the same. So first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna come back here, unplug it, and then we're gonna take the exhaust off, which is just a little Phillips head screw. You just loosen that up, that pops off. Once we get that done, I'll bring you back. Alright, so exhaust is off, unplugged. So what we're gonna do is take this portion off, this back piece, this piece, because that'll let you get to all the electronics except for what's up here in the top panel. But this is what we're going to work on today. So we're going to take off all these screws. You'll see them 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, all of these and all the ones similar on this side. There's no screws on the bottom, so once you get those off, this whole panel will just come off. So I'm going to do that, and I'll show you when I pull it off. Alright, all the screws are off, so it comes loose. You got to pull it around this plate, and then it just pulls right up. Comes right off the exhaust port down there. I'm just going to set this to the side. Okay. So, you know, if you look at, sorry, I'm going to turn you. If you look at other videos, they're going to tell you need a multimeter and you should test all these things, right? Well, since this isn't mine and I don't come, you know, I don't live here, you know, I would probably do that. But in the essence of saving time and money, it's just easier for me. I bought this pack, which came with all of these parts. And I remember I actually fixed one like they tell you, all these other guys. They just replaced this one, right, which is the high temp couple. But then I had to come back 3 weeks later because thermostat went bad. So this only cost me 40 bucks off of Amazon, right? You're already going to save money doing your own fixes, but I would just buy all these parts and replace everything. You know, if it's your own house, maybe you could replace one part, and you know, if you don't care about pulling it back out and trying to fix it 2 weeks later, that's up to you. But what we're gonna go ahead and do is take off these spades off all these parts. You know, I would use your phone and take a picture. This is what it looks like. Here's your high temp thermocouple. This is your thermostat here. As you can see, this is the top portion that actually has a spade in the back. I don't know if you, it's really hard to see. There it is back there, and it actually connects to the thermostat. So you got to pull this piece off the first, which is the thermostat, and then this is your heating element, and then this is your cycling thermostat, which has high temp, and then your low temps, which is the purple, and then this is your fuse. So those are the main parts we have, and I'll show you how to replace these, because that's what we're going to do first, is replace these main parts. But once I take out the thermostat, I'm going to pull this piece off, which has these 2 bolts there and there, and this sheath comes out, this bottom piece, and we'll go ahead and replace the element too. So I'll bring it back. Alright, so this is the high temp thermocouple. White stripe wire goes on top, and took out the bolt, pulled that off, and we'll replace that one. So this is the thermocouple, pulled these off, undid this, it slides right out. So we're going to put this back together, slide the spades back on. And the next thing we're going to do is the cycling thermostat. So just make sure, because one of these do have writing on it. The red ones are labeled pretty easy. This one has the stripe. This one's solid. But this one on the left, for mine, has lettering, but then this one doesn't. So I would just make sure you mark so you know which wire goes on which side. So I'm gonna take this bolt off and put in the new one. So this was the old one. As you see, there's one side. It actually slides in with the one side underneath like that. So pull that out after you take the spades off, and then this goes in the same way, just like that. And you put the bolt back in on that hole and put the spades back up. So I've replaced thermocouple, cycling thermostat, high temp thermostat. Now we're back down here. So first we're gonna do is take off these spades, and then we're gonna take off the thermostat, this piece here. It's actually connected, as I showed you earlier, to the spade back in here. So you've got to kind of pull that spade off and the thermostat. It is kind of hard to get this spade off. You see it's connected onto the spade to the thermostat, to the heating element. I kind of just use you gotta be careful you're not replacing the heating element, but I stick a flat braided screwdriver under there just to pop it off. Alright, so thermostat is off here. I only got that spade off. What we're gonna do is take this and this off, and then this whole bottom part of this shroud will come out. So that's what we're gonna do so we can get to the heating element. Alright, this is the new one. That is the old one, so it's a direct fit. You don't even have to do anything to the connections. So we're just gonna pop that back in, and then we'll do the thermostat. Alright, so I have the new thermostat installed here. It is a really big pain to get it all the way seated. But finally got it. And on the back side, you'll see I bent, when you get it, that little tang on the top side. Let me see if I can't get you to point it out. The tang right there in the back where the hook is, I always bend it up. You don't really want it touching the thermostat side. So just bend that up and just use a little screwdriver. But it's situated. I'm gonna go ahead and stick it back on and hook everything back up. So one thing I want y'all to be aware of, you watch this one spade come onto this new connection. It slides on and off. That's not good. So what you need to do is essentially, you really can't see on this one, but what you want to do is on this big one, you want to squeeze together those tongs. I just take a pair of pliers and squeeze them together. So that's what I'm going to do for this one, just so it fits on there tight, because you don't want them to come in loose while this thing's vibrating around when it's running. Now it fits snug. I mean, you can see the thermostat rolling around, but this thing doesn't come off easy now. So we're gonna plug it all up. And one thing I wanted to get y'all, you need to make sure you check this tube. This is where your lint, this connects here. This thing can fill up with lint, and that's what causes your thermostat or your high temp couple to go bad or open up. What you'll do is just make sure you dump out all the lint. You'll just look down in there. If you see a ton of lint, I already vacuumed mine out. I just took my shop vac and stuck it in. Made sure I sucked everything out from the outside. Got a decent amount out, but it wasn't clogged. So make sure you do that. And when I'm back here, I mean, you don't have to do it, but I pulled this off. So you just take off 1, 2, 3, and 4. There's one right there. And then on your trap up here at the top, you gotta take this out too. You pull this out, and you'll see under there's 2 screws. You take those out. You pull this all the way out, and this comes off, and you can clean out on your blower and just make sure there's no big piles of lint in here. I did have some lint down in here, but that didn't cause my dryer not to dry. So I've got everything replaced now. We're gonna go ahead and start her up and make sure she works. And voila, you can see the orange tint in the video. You can see it through there too. She's heating. There's clothes in there. They're pretty wet, so this is coming out pretty warm. So anyways, another job done. I always make sure, you see people who test without this on. Feel like that's risky. There's a lot of wires hanging down. If it was just me, I wasn't making a video for other people, I would do that. But I mean, for 40 bucks, not having to have a voltmeter, most people don't have them if they're doing at home stuff. So anyways, another job done. Alright, so we're back at my desk. I'm just going to go through the different parts and test them, even though you're going to replace them. I would just replace all the parts that come in the pack. Alright, so that's a cycling thermostat. We're going to go back to ohms to check the... so we're going to ohms now. We're going to check this side, which is the lower heat. As you can see, there's nothing, which means this part of the cycling thermostat is bad. So I think this is our culprit, is the cycling thermostat, but we're going to go ahead and do the rest of them. So we're going to go back to continuity for the next 3 parts. So here's the thermal fuse. We're going to check that one. Well, thermal fuse is not going off. So this is probably our culprit then, because it's not going off. So that's really our culprit here. Here's our high temp. Oh, there we go. That's working. So this one was good. Save that if you want. Here's your thermostat. So you're just going to measure these as well. So that's good. So your thermostat and your high temp couple is good. When we go back, this was our thermal fuse, which was bad. So that will cause your dryer not to do anything. And then here's our heating element. And what you're going to do is turn this back to ohms. So you're back to ohms. You're going to measure the resistance in your coil. And as you can see, it goes to 0.010. And that means, since I have it on 2K, that means it's 2000 ohms resolution, which means this is reading 10 ohms. So you would move the decimal 3 places. So it's really 10 ohms is what it's reading, which is in spec with what you should read. So, as we found out, it is actually my thermal fuse, which is this one, that was bad, and we replaced it. But as I said in my earlier movie, you should just replace all 4 parts. It's 35 bucks on Amazon, and I'll put the link in the description just so you won't have to open it back up and deal with it. And especially me, it being not my home, and I'm just being called out to fix it. This is just an easier way to do it. So then you don't have your client calling back and saying, oh, it's not working again, and having to go back and replace the thermostat. But that's it. As I showed earlier, the dryer works, and this is a way to test your components.